Leprosy is making a comeback in Central Florida, appears to be one of the epicenters. The painful disease is now considered to be endemic to Central Florida.
That's because the CDC says 1/5 of all new cases have been reported in our region. Fox 15's Evan Axelbeck in the newsroom with more on this story for us. Evan.
Linda Haley, the CDC says the ancient virus should now be considered as part of all patient exams who show rashes and swelling. It's been common in places like India and Brazil, but now Floridians with no history of travel to those places have been infected. This 54-year-old man from Central Florida who works in landscaping gave researchers permission to share these photos. Swelling on his face is apparent, as are lesions on his ankles.
There must be terrible suffering going on in that individual. I mean, not just the discomfort of disease, but the fact that people reject you. They're afraid, they don't want to be around you.
A paper published by the CDC says Central Florida accounts for 1/5 of the 159 U.S. cases of leprosy reported in 2020. Though that is down from 216 in 2019, researchers are concerned because most cases seem to be locally acquired.
It is a reemergence. We're seeing more of it. Now, why this is, people don't know.
95% of people are genetically immune to leprosy, a disease that's been around since 600 BC, but has seldom been found in the U.S. Until now, most had traveled from areas where the disease was already prevalent, like India and Brazil. It takes longer periods of exposure for it to be passed from person to person.
You have almost negligible threat as far as infection goes.
The other thing to watch for is exposure to armadillos. Researchers say a large percentage of U.S. patients have the same strain of the virus as is commonly found in the animal, suggesting that close encounters may be to blame.
It cries out to be investigated, but there's clearly more cases.
Researchers are encouraging those who investigate cases in other states to consider whether that person has traveled to Florida.
Definitely is leprosy in the United States. Now, most of it is imported, but we do have homegrown leprosy here, principally in Texas and Florida.
For many, leprosy may seem like a problem from biblical times, but Dr. Nicole Iovine, the chief hospital epidemiologist at the University of Florida, tells me the disease is very much still around. In fact, leprosy could now be endemic in Central Florida.
Endemic means something that is circulating and is present at all times, and it can be at a low level.
According to a new research letter from the CDC, Florida is among the top states with the most new cases of leprosy. That's based on data from 2020, the latest research data available. So far this year in Florida, there have been 15 confirmed cases of leprosy according to the state, and most of those cases are in Brevard County. In fact, Brevard has seen the most leprosy cases in Florida since 2011, and in 2020, Brevard accounted for over 12% of all leprosy cases in the country. So what happens if someone has leprosy? Dr. Iovine says that usually means lesions on the skin.
If you have something that's like, a few centimeters on your arm and you can't feel it, that's going to be different from a typical rash, which is going to be itchy or some other way that you would, identify with a normal rash. So it is distinct. It can be extremely disfiguring though, so it definitely causes a lot of distress.
So how does someone contract leprosy? Dr. Iovine says usually armadillos are to blame.
Physical contact is really what you need. You need to have physical contact with an infected armadillo.
Dr. Iovine says fortunately, antibiotics are very effective at treating leprosy. In Orlando, Marlene Martinez, WESH 2 News.